Anchor of the Week, everybody.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Anchor of the Week, where you do not have to agree with us to be friends with us. It's Sadie here, and Courtney.
Hey.
And if you're watching this, and maybe you can listen as well, we're not in our usual studio. We're actually at home.
I know.
Honestly, Courtney's idea yesterday, but I'm vibing with it.
I know.
We set up the room, made it look all cute, all the pillows that we got.
Propped every pillow.
Every pillow that we have on this bed. Yeah.
I know, it's cozy. I like that I get to wear my slippers.
Yeah, exactly. These are my socks, my sweats.
I know. I almost considered changing out of my jeans. But I do have to leave right after this. I was like, there's no point.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Well, anyway, guys, welcome to our house.
Welcome to our home. For those of you who don't know it, yeah.
For those of you who don't know.
I mean, to be fair, my mom's never seen this house.
Wow.
So here's my home, Mom. A wall of it, I guess.
A wall. A plain white wall.
A plain white wall with some pillows. This is it.
This is
all there is to it. I mean, to be fair, we
Crazy.
are moving soon. So it is kind of barren, hence all the pillows that we've...
Honestly, by the time this episode comes out, we probably will be.
Crazy.
Yeah. At
Yeah.
least the majority of it.
Wow.
I know. Crazy.
Anyway, before we move on...
Oh, of course.
Almost. Did you guys guess who last week's intro was? Crickets. I bet you didn't. Drum roll. Natalia! Woohoo! What a legend. To be fair, it was one day where I was going around trying to get everyone to do it. And there were multiple people who were like, oh, no, I don't, what? Put on the spot, which is fair. And Nat, just doing her little thing in her fashion studio, was like, yeah, sure. And I was like, yes, Nat. I think she was my first one of the day. But also, you just reminded me when you said, oh, by the time this comes out. By the time this comes out,
I know.
Nat will probably have a little baby boy.
I know. It's so
Not
crazy.
probably.
She
She
will.
will.
Oh.
Yeah. She's about to pop
She's
right
due
now.
Today, no? Tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow. Yeah, she's due tomorrow, technically.
Yeah.
Wow.
Insane.
Yeah. Anyway.
So how do you feel being the age now where friends and stuff are having babies and it's just normal? And...
Honestly, I've been thinking about this a lot lately.
Have you?
And I don't know if we want to go down that rabbit hole, but I was like, it's such an interesting season.
Yeah.
Because not only friends having babies, but friends getting married. But it is the fact that I'm at the point now where it's beyond friends just getting married. It's friends having babies.
Yeah.
Which is
It's
almost
friends-
2 separate seasons.
Friends
you know?
being married for a little while.
Exactly.
And then starting to have
having kids.
Yeah.
But it's actually been very eye-opening for me in the sense of I'm okay not being there, you know?
Yeah.
I know how easy it is to be like, oh, I'm 27, I'm in my late 20s. I should be at this milestone. But honestly, sometimes I just walk around and I'll be, walking to wherever I'm going. I'll be like, let me get a cup of coffee. And I'm like, this is such a treat. And it's just me. I don't have to think about the finances I'm spending, the time.
Honestly, you do.
I mean, yeah. I was like, wait, let me just make sure. Hold on. I am accountable, but it's not like I have someone else that I'm attached to,
Yeah.
or someone else that I'm taking care of that I have to think it's just me. So I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, it's actually kind of great, living this life.
Or learning to appreciate it because it's true, you won't get it back.
Exactly.
And something that we say, I know some of us with our friends, but it won't always be like this.
Yeah, exactly.
The good times won't always be like this. It'll get better, but also in the good times too. It actually won't always be like this.
Yep.
So enjoy it while it's here.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's just the motto. I think I
It
want
is.
to live my life in this season. It won't always be like this.
It won't always be. And I think I've been saying something very similar of this is so old, I think, but this too shall pass. You know? And I think people can hear that phrase and think of it as oh, I'm going through bad times, but oh, this too shall pass. But even the good times,
it's gonna leave.
this will also pass.
This season will leave.
Yeah. Anyway,
Wow.
I love that we started that way.
I know.
But I mean, today's conversation
Has nothing to do
with that.
But I feel
actually.
this could possibly be a whole other podcast.
It really could
topic,
be.
So
Yeah.
we can work on that one a little bit, workshop it.
Yeah. Because we have talked before, and I think we mentioned it in last 2 weeks episode with Lauren about just this whole idea of what was I going to say? Singleness and how the church is always talking about it, quote unquote, but with single people. But sometimes you don't need to have that conversation, but almost, I don't know, it'd be interesting to bring a different light to it.
Yeah.
You know? Anyway. Hope you listened to that episode because it was great.
Oh, it was so good. Yeah. So today, if we're not going to talk about the season of life we're in, what are we talking about, Sadie?
Oh, you know us. Pop culture goodness today.
And I think it's so fitting we're doing it in our home.
Yeah.
Because, guys,
this is how it is.
How many times do we just, we come home after a long day and it's cooking in the kitchen and we're just yapping about whatever's in the news. But more than that, what we think is going on behind the scenes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because as you will learn, well, you probably already should know, we don't just take things at face value.
Right.
So, I don't know if there's like a certain story. Guys, we could go on.
We could start in 100 different places.
Yeah. Where would you like to start?
Oh, I think you know where I would like to start. I have been a believer from day one. I love Justin Bieber with all of my heart, and genuinely have been like a fan of his through the ages. Ever since my mom first introduced me to him.
My mom introduced me to One Direction.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so
funny.
funny.
Look at our mothers go.
Yeah, my mom was just, I think randomly she came home from work one day and was like, my coworker told me about this new little boy who's out, and I was like, what? That's like, I'm like, of course, little me. I don't even know how old I was. And then I saw his music video one time and I was like, I'm obsessed. But
okay, can I just tell the story about how my mom got me into One Direction?
Oh, please, go ahead.
This is just so funny. This is why. It just all makes sense when you look at the parallels.
Yeah.
Of art, yeah. But okay, so they were already like obviously popular. I got into them late. Okay.
We've talked about this.
We have talked about this because you were into them.
Yep.
Yeah. I got into them right as Zayn was leaving.
Crazy.
I know, so crazy. But I was like, ugh, like I don't like One Direction. Everybody likes One Direction. All the girls on my cheer squad in high school were like really into them, and I was like they all had their one. I was like, I hate this.
Yeah.
Like I don't care. And then I was actually studying in Germany, and I get a text from my mom, right? And she goes, Courtney, we like One Direction now. And I was like, what? And she's like, I have something to show you when you get home. And essentially it was, she had recorded like on the TV, like the Today Show performance. I think it was like the one that Zayn didn't show up to or something. But my mom was like, they're not a boy band anymore. Like, they are men.
At that point, they were man band.
Man band. And I just remember staring at the TV, long-haired Harry.
Yep,
just
bro.
like,
iconic. Iconic.
And I was like, yeah, you're so right, Mom. We like One Direction.
We do like One Direction.
Anyway, I love that story.
Yeah, that was the turning point. Zayn leaving and Harry's long hair.
Yeah, that's all I needed.
Yep.
Didn't really care about anything else.
Anyway, back to Justin.
Sorry, back to Justin. Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, I've been a fan for, I feel like my whole life. And it's come, in and out, of like being super into him and then kind of being like, oh yeah, like I like his music.
But you've always been loyal.
I have been loyal, and I stand by him. And he is in a very interesting season of his life right now. But again, only from what we are being told. Like no one really knows what's going on.
Yeah, that's the key phrase right there.
That's the key phrase. It's like
no one really knows what's going on.
Which is, I think that's, maybe we'll come back to that. But he's like my number one celebrity that I pray for, like all the time, because I know that he is of faith. Like we've seen him, right? Like, there was a point where we watched a video of him worshiping with like Chandler Moore. Like we were all at the kitchen table and we were crying because it's just, I feel like he's lived such a life that the fact that he has come to God, or maybe come back to God now, whatever it is, that it's actually kind of, I don't know, it
feels so honest.
Yeah, it feels honest, it feels vulnerable, it feels real. And so seeing him like worship and be in those places, I'm just like, I'm so moved by it, to be honest. But that is because his life has been in the media for so long. Like we've watched him grow up basically.
Yeah.
And have his, his bad moments and his great moments. But right now is something like, I think it's so interesting that's happening. He just had a baby, right, with Haley. And ever since that has happened specifically, I think the media has just decided to kind of like come for him, like I read an I didn't even read the full thing, but there was an article that I think Glamour put out. Sorry to at you, Glamour, but I think it was you.
They put it out there.
They did. It was a whole article just about like what's wrong with Justin Bieber, basically. And it was them giving a whole breakdown of like all of his, not all, but some of his crash out moments and the moments where he's just not been his best in the media, which in my head, when you're constantly being looked at and constantly being ridiculed and people are nitpicking every single thing you do, like, I would crash out. Fully, I would crash out.
Honestly.
As a Christian, I would have my
Yeah.
moments as well. And so for me, it's like, why do people care so much about his bad moments?
Yeah.
Like, to be fair, he is doing a lot of things right now. He's at this party, he's doing this thing, this press tour. So it's like, he's still very much in the light.
Yeah.
And because of that, I don't know, it's like, it's just making it, he can't like live his life and do what he loves.
Yeah.
It's like impossible for him to do that because people are constantly wanting him to fall, you know? And I think back to, was it that song that he had with Shawn Mendes, Monster, which is honestly
great song,
underrated song. I don't think it got the hype it deserved when it came out, but
I mean, we gave it
the hype it deserved. But it was basically them being like, am I the monster? Like, are you? I don't even remember the lyrics right now, but them saying like, you put me on this pedestal and now you want to knock me down.
Yeah.
And I could just go on about Justin, but in my head I'm like, why are we constantly trying to find something wrong and talk about it? Like, let the man live his life.
Yeah. I have so many, I think, conflicting thoughts on this. I mean, love Justin and can objectively see obviously what's going on. It's not cool.
No.
You know. But as someone who grew up very, I mean, like you, like very into pop culture, and I even think back to the early 2000s, like horrible with like tabloids and everything, and like TMZ and Britney and all the magazines, exactly. And it was just all people's weight was like the big thing that everyone was always talking about, and like on ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I definitely see though how I've like fed the monster,
right,
if you will.
Yeah.
And I wonder, because I know some people's argument is like, okay, but if you are famous, it's almost like you choose to, like, this just comes with it.
Right.
You know, if you put yourself in the public eye, you're accepting the scrutiny of it. But obviously, like, I don't know, like, what's the line of, like, that's a celebrity's responsibility to have to deal with it versus we need to respect.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
In my head, it's almost like we just need to humanize them again. Because I think sometimes we can look at celebrities and just see them as a means of like consumption, like they give us entertainment, they give us joy, they make us, they make us feel better about our lives because they're having a horrible life. You know what I mean? Like I just think we have a lack of like humanizing them and empathizing with them sometimes. And I mean, sorry, to bring it back to Justin, we're still on it, but he posted a video the other day on his Instagram, and it was like, I watch it and I was getting emotional because I was like, that is actually crazy that he lives that. But it's just him and Haley like walking out of, I think, their house or somewhere. Their bodyguards are with them, and of course there's paparazzi waiting for them outside of the gates. So they're going to their cars, but this whole time he's just recording the paparazzi taking pictures of him, right? And it's so weird because it's like, I don't know these paparazzis, and I don't even know what that life looks like as a paparazzi, like what that job entails. But to me, it feels so dehumanizing and degrading. Yeah. And so there was a point in the video where like Justin's just standing outside his car recording them, and his bodyguard's like flashing a flashlight in their faces so they can't take pictures, because the flash and all that kind of stuff.
Flash, yeah.
Exactly. And they're just standing there, not saying anything, just like waiting. And then the bodyguard's like, "Are you done? Like, are you done?" And they're just like deadpan staring at them, like waiting for them to move so they can get their picture. And I'm just like, it made me feel uncomfortable, because I'm like,
fascinating.
I'm like, this is just a human person who's just like, I don't know, they were probably just going out to eat or something, like maybe they were going to an event or whatever, but they were just going from their house to the car, and you're just like in their face. And I'm like, I don't know, for me there comes a point where you are taking that responsibility on as a celebrity to have people look at you and scrutinize you. But if we are doing it not from a place of like looking at them as humans first, I'm like, that just feels so messed up,
Yeah. I think that's a perfect way to summarize it, of the humanity of it. But you know what it makes me also, okay, for like example, Lady Gaga, okay? Or like these people that create a persona. And I'm like, the more that you think about it, the more like, because even, okay, in the news, when we talk about Lady Gaga, no one talks about Stephanie, whatever her last name is.
Yeah.
I don't know it.
Right.
Right? So it's, you know, if something dramatic happens or people are scrutinizing, they're scrutinizing Lady Gaga and not Stephanie.
Not her. Right.
And I wonder if that even kind of I mean, that's obviously, I don't know how healthy that is, because then you're almost creating like I don't know if dissonance is the right word. Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm sure that has its own issues that comes with it. But as we're talking about this, it's almost like it's a form of self-protection.
Yeah. That's actually super interesting, because I can see how that's, because that will then, for them anyway, I would assume, like help you disconnect almost.
Yeah.
And not feel like they're after you.
Yeah.
But when you're, and maybe there's a difference, I don't know, when it comes to like movie stars versus like musicians, right?
Yeah.
Like, because especially for musicians, like your art is you. So it's kind of, in my head, it would be so hard to be like, okay, I'm putting on this persona to create this music that is still very much me, you know?
Yeah.
But then I have to like disconnect myself from that.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm Lady Gaga now performing this song.
Yeah.
But Stephanie was there to write the song. You know?
Yeah.
Like it's there's still like kind of, there's always going to be a connection, but
There's
I can also understand the protection that it could bring. But yeah, that's actually super interesting.
Okay, this is a slight tangent.
Uh-huh.
But I have been thinking about this a lot, especially with like social media, right? Because it was a thing, whatever. And I'm like, I don't know, building a personal brand is, I don't think anything I'd ever want to do. Right? Because it's so enticing, right? That anyone can have their brand. We can all be content creators. We can all, you know, become famous. But then it's like, well, actually, I don't know if that is something that even appeals to me, really.
Right.
Like, oh, cool, I love content creation, but I would so much rather do it out of like, under the anchor, under something that is, one, I feel like it gives you something bigger to, I don't know, something bigger than me.
Yeah, exactly.
But at the same time, I think it has that layer of protection. Like, I can still put my heart and soul into this. People still see my face.
Yeah.
But it's not like,
this is me that you're looking at. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. So it's just, I think it's kind of interesting that we all, because before it was like, you are a celebrity, only a few people make it. And you're thrust into this life. But I do think it's important to have this conversation now, because in this age, right? Or like, okay, not everyone's becoming famous, but we're all being looked at or have the possibility to. Yeah. Right? And a little bit of like, there's almost like a lack of control on if that happens to you or not as well. So it's like, for example, I think of Alex Earl, you know?
I don't know who that is, Alex Earl. Maybe I do. Maybe.
I don't know. I don't think you're on this side of TikTok, but she's she's an influencer. And she started making Get Ready With Me videos in her college. Interesting. Right? And now she's got this whole brand, this whole thing. Wow. Right? But it's like, oh yeah, before she was Alex Earl, she was just some Jersey chick in college in Miami.
Yeah. Just shooting her videos.
Just shooting her videos. And of course you can talk about, okay, the privilege she came from and all this, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But at the end of the day, we didn't know her. Right. You would pass her on the street and not think anything. Yeah. You know? Yeah. And I'm just like, I think this is a conversation that used to be very much like, well, they're famous. Well, they're rich and they can whatever. Like, we could really easily distance ourselves from the celebrities in this. But now I'm like, no, we can't. Right. And I think for all that it is, like the influencer era is kind of creating a bridge between us and celebrities and realizing like, oh, like this actually could be me. And if it was me,
how would I want to be treated?
How would I want to be treated? Yeah. Well, how would I feel?
100%. You know? I also wonder if that, like you speaking of social media, I mean, I believe that is also part of the detriment of where we're at the same time, you know? Yeah. Because it is so much easier to access, like celebrities' lives, you know? Yeah. Like I think back to, like we were saying, when we were younger, like I used to watch like E-News.
I was gonna bring that up. I was like, I'd wait till 7:30 on a weeknight.
Oh yeah, exactly. To get my information. Or like go to the store and get one of the like pop magazines or whatever. Yeah.
I was an Us Weekly girl.
Oh really? Like the magazine? Yeah. Oh no, I think I got like Teen Vogue was my thing. And that wasn't
that too, but
that wasn't a whole lot of like pop culture. It was just like, look at these pretty people. But outside. But no, I remember like it was not easy just to like get information about anybody. And now we have Google, Instagram. Like there's like fan pages on the internet of one person. And like this one celebrity, this one person is looking at the celebrity's every move. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, like Aaron Taylor Johnson was spotted in Notting Hill this afternoon. You know what I mean?
I know, like,
And you're like, how do you know that? And why does it matter? Like, why do we need to follow them? Why do
Yeah.
we need to know their every move? Because that's insane. But yeah.
Okay, but so it's because I was like, okay, we had a very controlled narrative when we were growing up,
true.
right?
Yeah.
And it was like certain outlets were the trusted ones, and so we had to kind of take what they said as truth. We never doubted really what they said as truth.
It's true.
I don't think. Or maybe because we were young.
Yeah.
I don't know.
know.
Perhaps, but it was like, okay, this happened, so we believe because it was reported on. But now I'm gonna go off onto my tangent.
Please.
Okay, because like, okay, we have social media, we have all these people, but now I'm like, I'm trusting the narrative less and less. You would think that having the narrative in the people's hands would make it more trustworthy, right? Because it's not controlled by just a couple, you know, people or news outlets or shows.
Yeah.
Now it's in everyone's hands, so you would think that it would be more real. But what I'm learning is that, like, no, like, we're still just being, okay, I'm not learning that we're being manipulated by media and that kind of a thing, but it's almost like they're telling us that it's like, I don't know, more believable now because it's coming from like whatever sources.
Yeah.
Sorry, you looked, so I looked.
No,
too.
yeah, I was just the glare on the screen. I couldn't tell. I was like, is it even still on? No, we're good. We're good.
Lost it all. But this makes me think of my Chris Pratt tangent that I've been on.
Yeah.
Okay. And like, again, I know that you can't just trust the media, right? But I feel like everything that I see, and maybe it's just who I follow, what my algorithm is like putting out there. There's very little positive about Chris Pratt, right? Because he's been very outspoken about his faith. And yeah, I might get a little bit conspiracy theory, a little Christian conspiracy theory here, and I'm okay with that.
Please take a
It's fine. You know, and it might just be kind of like my algorithm, but he's been very outspoken about his faith. And therefore, a lot of the things that I'm seeing is like, for lack of a better term, Chris Pratt is like a bigot. He's all these different things against this, against that, hard right, you know, like, I'm like, okay, like, everything was just shaped in a bad light.
Yeah.
Okay? And then I was listening to Call Her Daddy, the podcast with Millie Bobby Brown, okay? And she was promoting her new movie with Chris Pratt. And I don't remember exactly what she said, but I do remember it was at 57 minutes of the interview. So, because I was trying to like listen to it again to make sure I got like the facts right. I was like, I can't do this, but I can remember 57. So you can listen to it for yourself. But she was essentially saying that one of the reasons that she wanted to do this movie was because it was with Chris Pratt. And she was saying that she's only heard amazing things about other actors working with him. Okay. And that she was saying that like he did not disappoint, that she said he never had a bad day. He never brought the mood down. He knew everybody on the crew by name, was always bringing his best, was like the kindest person in the room. All of these things. And I'm like, that is so not the narrative that at least the news I'm receiving.
Oh, I feel like we all, exactly. No, I feel like we're all getting that of people. And you said this last time when you were talking about it. It's like the second that he came out with like being a Christian or something like that was when the media was just like, oh, he's a rightist, he's saying all these horrible things about him.
Yeah.
But it's like when you can actually go back to the source,
even about him and his family.
Yes,
painting him as a bad father.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I'm like, do you know him?
Right. You don't.
You don't know him.
And this is why it is interesting getting the source from someone like Millie who has directly worked with him and has been like, I have seen this man face to face, work with him. Great man.
And not that people in the industry are talking about how great he is.
Exactly.
And so like, to me, that speaks so much. And it was just that big reminder of like, we don't know. No. We're receiving information. We take information. We form our opinion. It's kind of like 2 episodes ago we were talking about. Yeah. We receive the data, but we don't really process it because it's just like, it's what I'm told, so it's what it is. Yeah. Right? But it's this whole idea of like, he is actually impacting the people that Chris Pratt has no business influencing me. Yeah. Right? Right. But the fact of the matter is the people that he's working day to day with, he's actually making a positive impact. And the people in his life are like, yeah, like he is a good guy. Yeah. So I'm like, why are we so quick to listen to these third parties when you don't actually have any experience with them? And to be fair, the third parties probably don't either.
Exactly.
Anyway, those are my thoughts. As you can tell, I'm very neutral on this topic.
I don't think we're neutral about anything, Courtney.
No, like, hey, nothing is neutral, so we should not be neutral.
Nothing is neutral. Yeah. I feel I was gonna. You said something that. Oh yes. Okay. Sorry. This is kind of going back to.
Do you want me to leg here?
Yeah. I know. I like get a cramp in my knee right now. Kind of going back to what we were saying with the like social media and its effects and how we're all influencers. Something that's been on my TikTok recently is the celebrity Big Brother that's happening, or happened. I guess it just ended actually. And it's all of this stuff with JoJo Siwa. And it's like the amount of videos I've seen and people's comments being like, I'm not even watching this show, but I'm so invested in this show.
Yeah.
And that's literally how I've been, because I just keep seeing a bunch of stuff of her in this house with Chris Hughes, who is an old Love Island contestant. And how they're kind of like being buddy-buddy, as a lot of reality shows happen, you know, you have a showmance sort of thing go on. But she apparently has a girlfriend in real life, right? Yeah. So everyone's like, JoJo, what are you doing? And so I saw this video the other day as, you know, the season's coming to an end, and she is like talking to Chris in the house, and she's like really emotional because she was talking about how she's feeling confused because she's so happy here. And she like almost doesn't want the show to end, you know. And he's kind of telling her, he's like, you got a life to go back to, like you have, you know, friends and family to go back to, and all this kind of stuff. And there were a lot of people in the comments and like a couple like stitched TikToks that I was watching, and it's kind of like realizing that I think she's confused because she's like happy not being in a place where social media exists, you know, like she's in this house, and yes, you are being watched, right? Like that's the whole point of Big Brother. Like cameras are on you, they're watching you, but you don't have like access to how people are viewing you. You know, like you're just living your life. You're just living your life in that house. And it was like, people are like, I wonder if this is it. If she's just like actually sad because she's realizing, oh, this is so nice because I have nothing like that's forcing me to like put myself out there to be anything. Exactly. And it was really sweet because it ended like they were like dancing, you know. Again, I don't know any of other context besides the TikToks I've seen. Like I don't know what their relationship is or whatever. But I was very much like, oh, like, because JoJo herself has been in the media since she was a child, right? Like she was in Dance Moms and
built this huge brand,
and like all these different songs, and so many people know her, and so many people hate her for like, you know, like I'm gonna be fair. There was a season where I was like, JoJo, ew, you know. Yeah. But I'm like, at the same time, this is all she knows. Like ever since she was a little girl, she's been on the camera, she's been dancing, she's been on stage, she's been performing. So that's what she has to do because that's her job. Like that's, you know, what she's built.
And it's always been her job.
It's always been her job. And so to like take her out of that setting and to put her in a place where she just has to be her and to connect with other people around her, and that's it, you know?
That's crazy.
And I'm like, that's actually so interesting to like, I don't know. It was like, in my head, it was like an interesting, what's the word? Like, I keep thinking psychological experiment, but that's not right. Like social experiment. Yeah. Psychological. Oh my God.
Trap them in a dark room.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, it felt like an interesting social experiment to see.
I mean, those shows are a social experiment.
Oh, yeah.
Which is why I have ethical issues with those kind of shows, if I'm going to be honest.
Oh, I love reality TV.
I love reality TV. Not this kind of reality TV. I love American Idol. You know, sing to me. Ooh, I'll vote for you.
Like reality competition.
I like competition.
I guess Big Brother's also a competition, but it is a lot more of a social game.
And for
than
me,
competition.
Again, it's, because I'm like, what is entertaining me is watching a young girl be confused about her life. Something that should be happening in private. And that is where and hate to break it to you, I don't like love competitions and stuff like that too, because I feel like I'm being entertained off people's lust. Yeah. And their confusion. Yeah. And their like,
I mean, yeah, that was 100% why I used to watch shows like Love Island, because it was like, oh, these people are like have no idea what they want, but they're just getting put here, and it made me feel better about who I am, you know, bottom line. Which is all reality TV, to be fair. Yeah, I feel like.
Except for
American Idol.
Like the feel good one. I come from the Voice family.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, everyone's like crying, you know? But again, that brings us right back to Justin Bieber, though. If I'm watching this reality show because I feel better, because I feel like my life is more put together, I'm doing the exact same thing. I'm not humanizing these people.
Yeah.
I'm saying you were there for my entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Just
I feel
saying.
like that's a whole other tangent talking about reality TV.
Huge tangent. Yeah.
Because people then people put themselves on these shows.
They do.
Knowing exactly what they're,
Yeah, but
signing
why
up
do
for.
they do it?
Because they want validation and attention.
Exactly. So now I'm watching your insecurities and you trying to fill your need.
Wow.
And it's my entertainment, my consumption.
Wow.
Anyway. That's how I feel about that.
That's episode part 2 right there. Pop culture part 2.
I know.
Oh my gosh. I don't even know how long we've been going for. Only 30 minutes. Sheesh.
We got home. We got
all day. I mean, we don't. But
no, it's actually
we have things to do. Yeah.
Places to be, people.
Places to be.
Something else you had mentioned, though. You had mentioned John Bellion.
Oh, yeah.
And when we were talking about this podcast, I have no idea what you're about to say. I was filled in a little bit, but several weeks ago by Josiah, our friend, as you know.
Josiah loves John Bellion.
Loves John Bellion. And, he'll, like, fill me in every once in a while about, like, because I think it's interesting.
Yeah.
And I love that Josiah is really passionate about it. So I'm like, yeah. I'm like that
Something
friend.
pop culture.
Something pop culture. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, it's kind of common ground. Let's share it, But also a side note, I think we all need to care about the things that the people that we care about.
Say that one more time.
I always say this because, like, okay, not to like toot my own horn here or like whatever, but he was like, oh, I'm sharing like this with you because like, I don't know, I think you'll care. Like, I think you'll listen. And I was like, yeah, like I care about the things that the people I care about.
Ah, yes.
Do you know what I mean? So
yeah.
Please, I want to always be that safe space where you can come excited and tell me about the thing that maybe I like don't understand or don't relate to.
Yeah.
But I know you love it. So yeah, tell me.
Yeah.
Love it. Anyway, this is one of those moments. It's a weird tangent.
No,
Yeah.
I love that though. That's a
Thank
good thing to live by.
Yeah, because then you're only caring about what you care about.
And that's selfish.
Selfish. It's dumb. Anyway, so he was telling me about how he like released was it like through like a WeTransfer or I don't know, but John Bellion always be out here doing
crazy
the coolest
things. Yeah.
And basically was like had to pay off a whole debt for his from his label and was like I'd have to tour every day for the next 10 years to pay off that debt. So he like stopped music, worked or something
and then paid it off
and is releasing music now on his own terms. And it's just
legend.
like just like dropping songs
What
through like
a
links
legend.
and like
to be fair, that's like that's a whole other topic, I feel like, because that is how the music industry works. Is all of these celebrities are just in mad debt to all these labels.
Okay.
And so them going on tour making all this money is just so they can pay back their debt.
Okay. Yes. And this is why I don't trust like I'm so sorry. Anyone that conspiracy theorist is back. Anyone that is like big, massive signed to a label.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, what's actually going behind the scenes like with Tate McRae, for example.
It's all business.
It's all business.
And I'm like, you're losing not all the time, but you're losing the art of it. Like you're just making songs to make money.
It's gatekeeping of the industry.
Yeah.
That's why I love that there's so many independent artists though coming up and like really speaking out against it.
And celebrities who are fighting. I mean, like the whole Taylor Swift thing, right? Like
I know, which I thought was so dumb when it happened.
Yeah, same. And then I was like,
oh.
okay, yeah, fair. So like once I learned, I was like, oh, yeah, like that's take your rights back. Take the rights to your songs back. You know what I mean?
But I think it's frustrating for me as well. Like, okay, Taylor Swift can do that. How many artists are stuck that we've never really heard of?
Exactly.
Are stuck in the machine. Anyway. John Bellion, I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. To be fair, I didn't know that, so that's cool.
Okay, great. Because then I had a moment while I was explaining it, and I was like, "What if this is
exactly what Sadie was
going to say?" And you're just sitting there like, "Kind of cool."
You're like, "Okay, where do I go from here?" No. To be fair, I saw just a moment of John Bellion in an interview, and this is also because I was talking about Benny Blanco earlier as well.
Oh, yeah.
We're throwing out so many names. I'm so sorry if you don't know all these people, but sorry, Mom. Mainly, I'm talking to you. John Bellion. You know, he's been releasing music for himself, songs he writes, he releases them. And they're super dope, but that's like not the only things that he does. Like he's very much one of those songwriters in the industry who writes for other people.
Yes.
And in this interview, very small clip, I'm going to butcher it because I briefly saw it and I was
Do you remember like what minute from the video the clip was?
No, girl.
Oh.
No, I don't remember. I don't do that. I don't do that much like fact checking, deep research. No, I just saw it and went, oh, that's a cool thought, and then like noted it in my head. But he was him and Benny Blanco said something very similar. He was another big songwriter in the industry of like some of the songs that I'm writing, I'm not supposed to be performing them, you know? And he was saying, John Bellion was saying like, he's like, I know that this song is great, but I also know that like this very specific person would make it big, you know?
That's so interesting.
And for him, it's not about, right, like, oh, reaching the hundreds of thousands, making all of the money. But for me, it sounded like he was saying, no, I think this artist is going to sing the song and do it justice,
Wow.
right? And it's going to be able to impact, like, emotionally impact people better if it's sung by this person.
Interesting.
Right? And he's like, and it was actually just super interesting because I was like, that's such a, like, humble attitude.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think that's a whole other thought of like of the songwriters in the industry. I mean, you think about John Bellion and Benny Blanco, who was like the mastermind behind so many hit songs from the early 2000s.
That we're all just discovering now because he's engaged to Selena Gomez.
Yeah, like man has just come into the spotlight. Everyone's like, who's this dude? Like I've heard of him, but like,
and then you're like, who is this dude?
He's the guy that wrote my entire childhood soundtrack. You know, of like my first iPod, all of my songs were written by Benny Blanco, apparently.
Yeah.
But like, and how they just recognize like their role in the music industry isn't to be the one on the stage, isn't to be the one, you know, that all the fans are like coming to see, dying for, but they're the ones to like write the music to impact the fans, but to like give it away, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's actually such a, what's the word? Yeah, like a humble attitude is the only thing I can.
Quite admirable.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you know, it feels like there's a lot of security in that.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's on like a whole other side of it. Oh, I think my camera's gonna die soon. On a whole other side of it, there's this Jonas, who's like this worship songwriter who I watched a masterclass of him a while ago. I think we've talked about this, but
Is that how you say his name?
I think so, because he's like Swedish or something
Jonas?
like that. Jonas, yeah.
Jonas Miram?
Yeah, I think yeah, exactly.
I know my worship guys. Don't you worry.
But I remember I did a masterclass with him, and I was like, who is this dude? Like, he's really cool. Like, he's showing how you write all these songs. Little did I know, he's behind so many, not just him, like, but he's helped on songs that are bangers in the church. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
that like have shaped
like
movements almost.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like seasons of what worship music sounds like, you know? And it's just another one of those things that I'm just like, admirable role to have in that industry. To be like, I know I have this ability to write these amazing songs, but I'm not the one to do it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not the one to be in the spotlight. And I think that's actually super sick.
We love that.
Yeah.
Wow. I feel like we're going on the tangent, but we see the red flashing
of the camera.
But it's true. And I think we could like circle it right back to the beginning too. Then what I do as people, I don't hear people going, I just really want to be a great songwriter behind the scenes.
Right.
We all want to be that front facing person. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's also why we're so savage with it.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Because we want it, we can't have it, so we'll take it down.
Right.
If we can't have it, no one will.
Yeah.
But yeah, we would love it. Anyway.
We could keep going.
We need to stop.
But we need to.
I need to be stopped.
We gotta stop. We gotta stop right here, right now.
But no, I think we should do more pop culture episodes.
I think we should as well.
Maybe like once a month is too much. I don't know.
Once every couple months.
Let us know.
Yeah.
You know, we can start amassing like a list. You know, we'll collect ideas.
Yeah.
And then every so often we'll come on with the pop culture.
Yeah.
Because hopefully you like our take on pop culture.
Hope you do. Because I mean, we like talking about it.
So you might not have an option. I don't know. But yeah, it'd be interesting also to know how you guys see all of this too. So let us know, obviously, in the comments.
Yeah.
If there's anything or send us a message that you agree with, don't agree with, want to add to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we'd love to chat with you about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, there's so many ways to stay connected. Oh my gosh, again, the church outro, I feel like it's what my voice went into.
It's so ingrained in our brains.
But yeah, follow us on social media, TikTok, Instagram, you know, Spotify, YouTube, all the different places you can listen to podcasts. That's where we're at. But yeah, thanks so much for listening, and we will see you guys in 2 weeks.